Let me know you can hear me, by the way. Okay, cool. Thanks, Will. Hey, Cats. Yeah, good weekend. Wife was out of town. She went and did a girls' weekend, and I basically built out my garage gym with the tools that I had in place, and then ordered up a couple new tools for the old garage gym. We only have one car at the moment, so she took that, and I just kind of, wandered around the neighborhood, and I did a massive amount of back testing, which was just phenomenal. Built out my ETF strategy. That's going to be a beast when we release that thing. That thing's unreal, the results. And yeah, did a lot of reading. How about your weekend, Cats? Morning, Will. B-side. I realize I have I have an email pending reply to you. You put together a big, massive email for me, and I haven't responded yet, much like the other 30 or so emails I have sitting in there still waiting. Sasha, good morning. Simon, how are we? Good to see all these lovely faces or avatars. I have had some good thoughts on the benefits, some of the benefits of, well, I'm an eternal optimist. So the benefits of this coronavirus, maybe I'll chat about it a little later. Oh, good. You talked to Maverick. Yeah, like I said, I'm a mentor there, so I'm biased. But I've been there for a couple of years, and I think it's awesome. It's just great. Such a cool setup. I was actually there. What do you mean you can't trade FX on Interactive Brokers? I trade FX on Interactive Brokers all the time. Literally every single day. All right, well, let's have a look at markets. Let's just go. Well, you can trade whatever you want. If you're like, I trade my own system. You go through their course and you do all the stuff so that basically the idea is that you get baselined. They have a positive expectancy system. It's really good. The way they do it, they do a lot of trend-based systems, but that's just what they're saying. Like, if you're going to come in and you go through and you do the course and you complete it, and then you create your system, you basically write up your trading plan. And if it's different than the system that they suggest, that's cool. As long as you have the data to back it up. Or you can do their system, just put your own twist on it. And then you present it to, basically you present it to me. I would be the mentor who approves the system, and then you go and you day trade, or you paper trade the system. And if you paper trade the system and it comes out the same way that it pretty much, you can manage it. Basically, you can manage risk. You can avoid breaking the rules. Like, and even if you end up after the a couple month period of paper trading negative, as long as you followed your system and um, didn't risk the money too much, go crazy and just swing for the fences and do all that crazy stuff, and you just traded it correctly, then okay, then yeah, you can trade however you want. Um, and then we go over it together, see what needs to be done. If I feel that you're ready to go, we'll like turn you loose and allocate capital, and you can trade that. Or maybe sometimes it needs to be tightened up. You may or may not be ready to go live. So that's basically how it works. Sorry, I could probably get a lot better information on that when I'm not just getting going. We got the markets to go through. We can chat about it later. I'm actually going to do a full video on just prop, kind of not the 4 or 5 hour one I did the other day, last week or the week before, but like a 15-20 minute video with bullet points and kind of explaining everything. All right, let's have a look at markets. Let's start in currencies. I shorted dollar yen yesterday and nailed that. That thing just hit target pretty quickly. That was a fun day. So we're looking at the dollar. Dollar's holding up pretty nicely. Let me add my special witchcraft. Okay, so we have a failed vol breakout, or that's a failed breakout on if we drop below here. It's also a vol breakout, so kind of unknown on dollar. Let's have a look at euro. Let's look at the markets. Euro, that was a great trade last week. Caught the euro dollar up and exited. Also euro pound. Speaking of pound, not much going on. Slight drift higher in the pound. And yen, as mentioned, I went long yen yesterday, short dollar, and so caught that move to 1.5 hour price target. Having a look at the franc, still holding up. Franc's holding up pretty nicely. Let's look at the growth currencies. Canada had a really nice failed vol breakout. Vol breakout came back, still holding that. So it's both a vol breakout and a failed vol breakout at the moment. And I am actually long Aussie USD. So if we take a look at Aussie, down in here, we have that compressed vol, the vol breakout. So Aussie, and then we would be looking at a short on US dollar, and you see we have that same pattern on USD. If it does the vol breakout and keeps ripping, I'll probably not do so well on the Aussie USD, but that's just the name of the game. And Kiwi taking it a little hard. Let's have a look at my Aussie USD trade. As you can see, this is the trade I got in yesterday, and it ticked to get me in. And so now we just need to hold that downside. We'll see, we have Case Shiller came in, consumer confidence is coming in well, it didn't report yet, apparently. Doesn't matter to me. We have EIA, that should be coming up. Am I in the right time zone? I am, okay. So in a half hour, it looks like we're gonna have building permits that came out, new home sales came out. Doesn't matter. EIA, ethanol, blah, blah, blah. Later today, pending homes index, that must have just come out. Initial jobless claims, forecast 12 GDP. But whatever, doesn't matter. Basically, we got some news coming out, and that's probably what just kicked up this one. So let's drop it down to like a 10-minute and see if that's, yeah. So we just got some spiking going on there. Cool. Got my profit target set up at 66730. So let's throw a profit target up here. Basically right around here is my 1.5 hour profit target. and looking to hit that. Also of note, later this afternoon, we have broad money coming from Australia. Internet newspaper jobs report out of Australia. So mildly entertaining. It's just that that stuff I don't use. I don't care what the news is. I just know that that's going to move the market somewhat, or it has the potential to move the market. So that's why I'm interested in that stuff. Okay, we have potential. So one thing you just want to notice is, so we're in basically this yellowish green and the olive green represent bull quiet. And you can see when we were in bull quiet, it was just trickling up here nicely. And then we dumped and it became sideways here. And then we did bull quiet quite a ways. And as soon as we got into this stuff, you'll notice that we had candle bodies that were fairly low all the way up here. And it started to kick up. Now, remember, this SQN indicator is a trailing indicator. So it's going to tell you kind of an aggregate of the past. It's not going to tell you what the future is. It can just say that you are in an environment of blah, blah, blah. This is where you are. It's kind of telling you what the chart is showing you. But as you can see, when we started to get into this blue, meaning bull volatile, hey, also guys, thanks for the likes. Please hit the like button down there, hit the little thumb up, and that will wake up the YouTubes and maybe get some new people in here. I really appreciate that. Also, if you don't mind, hit this. Give me a retweet on this one. Where's it at? Can't even see it. I'll get back to it. But let me, here you go. Here. If you guys don't mind giving me a retweet and a like on that tweet so we can get that pushed out to people. I just want to get as many good people in here as we can, or bad people that need help too. Okay, so what we notice is as we moved into the bull volatile, which is the blue here, you see these big candle bodies, right? And then they tightened up again up at the top. So kind of that's indicative, but look how wide we got with the Bollinger Bands, big range. So we're looking at 34.40 down to 32.10, 230 point S&P range. It's a big area. If you're in the room, Sam, congratulations. 5-hour scalping today, plus an extra 2 on the bonds. Jeez, beast mode. Nice work, good sir. If you're in the chat, congrats. Fred, good morning. Okay, so you'll see that that's very similar in all the indices. It was just a nice drift higher on the Dow, and then it got volatile once we put in new all-time highs. So as soon as we got these new all-time highs and the wide mouth up here of the Bollingers, now we have a beautiful failed breakout potentially setting up. Now, these are all dailies, so I'm just going to kind of go through it. Now, the strongest of these, as you can see, is the NASDAQ, and that's no surprise. Quiet regime. And now let's throw that over here saying, because this is obviously a bull volatile regime. Now, why is it useful? It just says we know what the characteristics, we know what to expect. When you're in a bull quiet market, it just drifts higher and higher. And then we get this bull volatile, and you see what happens now. It's just volatile. There's volatility. And so we're going to get these big moves. It seems like the world's ending. Yesterday, we were down 3.78% over 4% intraday on the NASDAQ. But I mean, this thing is just on fire. Okay, so we've got to, now let's take a look at now among my back testing, I've learned a number of things about markets and market tops especially. I did over 70 years of manual back testing of the S&P 500 this weekend. And I'm going to go back and redo it on some other setups too. But one thing I noticed, one thing I've discovered is that for a market top to happen, you have to have your leaders get taken over by your laggards. Okay. So we did finally get an all-time high on the S&P 400, which is the mid caps. And it was actually a lower high. So this is not leadership. And Russell is even more obvious. So Russell still hasn't taken out its 2018 highs back in the summer of 2018. It still hasn't even got there. So one thing I will say is if NASDAQ stops doing its parabolic thing and just kind of bangs around or even starts to go down, and small caps and mid caps, the Russell and the EMD, or MDY, if you're looking at the ETF, if they start heading to new highs, that definitely says we have a new top in place, that we're close to a market top. That doesn't mean that we actually have a market top, I should say, but that's saying that's what a market top actually looks like. So when everybody's asking questions, is this a top? Did we miss it? Are we going crazy? Whatever. My answer is it's not yet. Now, I mean, this, we're holding here. We probably are going to shake some people out. This is going to not be a fun week. What's been working is buying the BTFD, buying the dip. Buying the dip has been working. And so what's likely going to happen is this dip is going to get stopped, right? Remember when we do our double bottoms, this looks like a nice double bottom. And, we could just do that number. That's totally doable. But what I'm expecting is here. Now I always draw this and it's complete opposite of what actually happens, but that's what I would do. Another like just pain trade, and then some more moving higher. That doesn't mean we're going to get all-time highs or anything like that. It's just saying I would see today maybe going up and then another test down below and then ripping, because if nothing else, we're going to retest the highs before we really dump. But you can see, as always, we have these small, easy, gentle candles, just big ones coming off big, violent days. So we may have a big reversal. But as you can see, we down like this, up, more down, and then we take off. So those are some thoughts that I have on that. But most importantly is we want to see, this not happening on a market top. We want to see something like this happen over a prolonged period of time, maybe a new high hit, maybe a higher high or maybe a lower high, and then put in lower lows. While at the same time we have Russell or EMD actually going higher and outperforming. So those are my answers on market tops and why we are not in a market top. But as you can see, we have Russell down again today, while NASDAQ's holding up so far. S&P is holding up so far. The Russell is not. The Russell is not enjoying life at the moment. So we've got a nice failed vol breakout on the 60 Russell. I'll be looking to get long that. Maybe in the next hour or two. All right, next LL. So I wanted to take a look at the Nikkei. Nikkei was down the most yesterday, and it just keeps drifting lower. That's a lower trend. See how it got those all-time highs, made another attempt, and then lower. This is the sort of pattern I want to see on NASDAQ before we start calling the market top there. Okay, let's have a look at bonds. Bonds had a potential setup yesterday. So that's a vol breakout and higher. Another from this vol breakout. So this one never stopped out, still going. You can pull back here. This had a vol breakout and a failed vol breakout. It's hard to decipher what is happening, but when you have the close above here and a move higher, that's a vol breakout. And as long as you keep your stop in this area, you would just trail this thing long. That's on bonds. To crude for you, Sasha. It looks like we hit that midline on the weekly. Well, not quite so much, but it was looking really good last week. I stand by my position that we're just going to be banging around between the 50 and 65 range. Even at the best looking bounce, got hammered. So I'm not in love with the oil trade. Natty gas, same thing, can't get out of its own way. Okay, gold. I am long, still gold. I added last week here, this breakout. So high was 1605, I think. So right in here is when I got added to my position. Yesterday felt pretty good until, you know, the end. But as you can see, it's holding up. So, you know, nice to do. But notice we're in a bull quiet, and we haven't really been in a bull quiet. And more importantly, there is a lot of upside ahead of this thing that hasn't been tested. Let me go to my weekly here. 2 weeks. So there's not a lot between the breakout here, 13. Once it broke out of all that, there's not a lot else, and has tested this low area and now is blasting through it. There's not much else up until about the 1800 area on gold. So bull quiet on the weekly, 2 weekly, bull quiet on the, not on the monthly. It's still wearing out all that bullishness. And then, so that's looking good. Copper, nothing interesting happening in copper, and silver giving quite a bit back after. I mean, it just keeps trying, but they keep hammering it. Platinum dumping, and palladium just keeps trying. Now, I did have a request on the Bitcoins daily for my friend Lush. Lush, I am long. From the vol breakout, and I've added on subsequent vol breakouts. And the only thing that is actually keeping me in this trade, I'm sorry, 2 weeks. So one thing that's really keeping me in Bitcoin right now is this sort of pattern we have right here, compressed volatility, excuse me, and the fact that we have breached that 20,000 mark, which as if you've been following me, you know, or $10,000 mark. 10,000 is a whipsaw month. So anytime we're in a whipsaw month of Bitcoin, a 10,000 month, 6,000 and 13,000 are both in play right now. This is just, in my mind, this is, I have compressed volatility and it's topping after a vol breakout. So basically what we end up oftentimes getting is kind of like that trending, and then you get like a spike up from there. So we're still in the, in my mind, and you know, what I'm trading off of on the weekly, I'm still bullish. So that's a bull flag on the weekly, and that's how I'm trading Bitcoin at the moment. So double bottom, get long, and we did, and then now you have basically this is first look back, like I talk about on my scalping. Okay, so let's take a look at back to NQ. See what's going on today. Back to the 10-minute. Okay, we got that bear flag potentially on the 4-hour. Let's get this out of the way. Whatever writing I've done. for what it's worth, I don't think we're done selling. I think dip buyers came in and bought. You might have seen that Globex session last night at when the overnight futures opened. We rallied pretty good. That was here, right? No, here. Yeah. So this was yesterday. This was the close, and then we rallied from little sell off, but took off 100, almost over 100 points on Nasdaq, and we've given some of that back. So now we have that bottoming pattern, and you can see it's kind of here's where we opened last night, came up, pulled back. We're holding. So dip buyers got in, and now you see we have this compressed volatility. There's going to be a battle. We're going to have sellers. We're going to have buyers. There's going to be a lot going on, a lot of emotions, and that's what we like to see around these turning points. That's what I like to trade. Hold on, I got some chats going on over here. Okay, let's have a look at Russell. That's where we're really dumping in Russell. Had an attempt to get the vol breakout. No fill, no fill. So a new low. Let's keep an eye on that. Basically, I think longs were complacent if they bought their dips yesterday, and I think they're expecting it all to kind of turn from here, and then with this dumping on them, you know how I like to do my price action. I know that a lot of traders are going to go ahead and put swing lows here. They're going to put their stop there, right? So as you get going, you see that, you see two spikes low, you get long, and then you put your stop there and it gets stopped out. Okay. And you put your stop here and it gets stopped out. And so traders are going to be doing that over and over. They're going to be getting stopped out over and over. And that's how you wear out a market. And then when it stops moving, bears get bored and they just cover. And something comes out and you have a bunch of bulls who've just got stopped out. And they're sitting there thinking to themselves, crap, I don't want to be, I don't want to be sitting here missing this. And it starts running, and then they're going to, bears are going to have to cover, bulls are going to chase. And that's how you get yourself a nice little rally. I'm going to go, I don't see anything exciting yet. I am still holding long Russell, NASDAQ, gold, silver, and Aussie. So short USD, which just kind of holding the line. Very similar setup to NASDAQ. All right, we got some people in here. I like it. Good to see everybody. Thanks for showing up. Please hit that like button or the little thumbs up that warns everybody else in YouTube land that this is interesting and people are getting use out of it. So I like, if you don't mind doing that, don't mind doing the retweet. We can get some good people in here. Mr. F, thank you. Will B-side, I like it. Thanks for the retweets. Thanks for the likes. That's definitely, that's how we get people showing up. And, when we get good people in here asking questions and pointing out, their analysis and their stuff, we get some really good stuff in here. So I think we're probably going to be getting, one thing I'm watching is that low, yesterday's low, or I'm sorry. Let me get my real trading thing up there. Okay. So I'm going to pay attention to Globex lows and Globex highs. Okay. So like right in there. Globex lows, Globex highs. Yesterday's extreme low. I want that on my chart. And as you can see, it's pretty balanced. That's right in the middle. We're right there. So they see this overnight low, they're going to run it to the overnight low. Guess what happens down here? We have traders who've put their stop in down there, who got long on that double bottom. Get long here, boom, they're out. Failed vol breakout, short it. And so we've got a lot of stuff going on down here. There's going to be a lot of sell stops. People who got long, maybe got long here. This hasn't been tested yet either. So we still have the 90 or 9,000 level to test as well. I would say, let me have a look at, let's go. And there we go. We're heading that way. And then we did, because that was the last time. Yeah, we breached that. So let me even add these. Okay, so I've marked up my charts. I know where people are going to be getting nervous. This thing's going to break. Once we breach this, we're going to get really crazy. And everybody who was like holding on for dear life yesterday and thinks they've weathered the storm is now going to start feeling that pit of despair. And guess what's going to happen? That's where you get those stop loss orders. That's where everybody gets crazy and scared. There it goes. We just ran it. Okay, the overnight Globex low just got hit. Now that should cause some drama. Remember, it's causing drama. What's next? We have yesterday's low. It's in sight. And there we're going. Now we're heading there. So this is the sort of thing that you can get we have compressed volatility, expanded volatility. We don't have a vol breakout. We do have potentially a vol breakout at the end of this candle, but there you go. Now we're going to overnight lows, or yesterday's lows. So yesterday low on NASDAQ was 90.4125. And so bears are who've been short this failed vol breakout, short from 6 a.m., 8 a.m. Would be New York time. Bears who did that, probably taking profits here. And then we had all the longs who put their stop below the overnight Globex low just got ran. So now we have a bunch of inventory and a bunch of scared, violent, crazy people. And if we have a big reversal here, what's going to happen? Shorts are going to have to come back in and try to short it again because they took profits too early, or they're going to add to their shorts. And then you have bulls who put their stop here thinking they caught the bottom, the new buy the dip, and they just got stopped out. And so now they're thinking to themselves, okay, well, if this thing turns and we get our filled vol breakout set up like we like to get, we could have ourselves a nice little rally. And so all those bulls who bought in here are going to have to chase this thing. And that's how we would get higher from here. So notice we did not get to yesterday's low. So far that's a successful test of yesterday's low. But we still have time. Let's have a look at 5. Nope, just 5, not 50. Okay, that's looking good. Now that actually gives us good position sizing for, we have a vol breakout here. So sell stop here could be taken. But because if we're looking at a 5-minute, we might actually get our position sizing up to do a mean reversion trade. Okay, now we're heading to yesterday's low, and that should take out. Yep. Okay, now we're breaching that. So any stops that are left from yesterday's bottom, we've now gone lower than we did yesterday, as we'll see by this ugly chart. And okay, so we are trolling yesterday's absolute swing low. Tick below that, that should probably have covered a bunch of people on their they probably got stopped out. They put stops a tick below here and all these areas. So we're just running stops here. This is how you get yourself a reversal. Okay, so now we got the failed vol breakout potential here. So we'll want to see a reversal here. I would want to see an up and another move down, and then possibly another move higher to our midline here. So 91.44 is tradable potentially. Let's see what the other time frames are looking like. Bunch of scaredy pants left and right, as you'd expect. All right. So we're going to want to watch this. Let's take a look at the 5, see what that looks like. Okay, good stuff. Let's see what our 20-minute traders are looking at. Not even nicer. Okay, now, very nice. So now we have a failed vol breakout on the 30-minute. And that could be a move 91.50 potential if this plays out. But, you know, we also have a vol breakout. So below there. What else? What are you guys looking at today? What's everybody worried about? What's everybody focusing on? Okay, new lows again. Yes. Lots of drama. Lots of drama. Where's my stop on Bitcoin? Down 1.5% on Russell. That's going to be painful. Gold coming back. My stop on Bitcoin. Well, I know that 6,000 is a potential on Bitcoin. So if we start heading to a position that gets me worried on Bitcoin, I would be looking probably at I want to see if we get like a vol breakout to the downside. I would be looking to stop out there. But otherwise, I'm just kind of I'm sticking with my analysis on the weeklies. I know you probably want an exact number, but I don't work in that realm. Okay, now we're crashing. No fixed stop for me. I don't use fixed stops. I use them for position sizing, but now that I'm so far into the money, I'm just on a trail stop. That's something you're going to find very different about me, is that I don't have fixed. I used fixed stops to help I used fixed stops to help me size my positions. But all the whole purpose of that is that once I'm in the trade and it's in my favor, so my initial stop is my initial stop. And if I get stopped out there, I'll take it. But if I get stopped out, if I do get stopped out, or if I do have a trade that starts heading in my way and I get myself, like, let me show you. Let's take up Bitcoin again. Okay, so my initial entry in here, vol breakout there. It also was on the weekly, the double bottom on the weekly here. Boom, get long 7,500. And so my initial stop was down here at 63.79, somewhere around there. And once we start adding to that position, back to the daily. So, you know, this was the entry. It was like right in here, I think, somewhere around there. And then we start moving, vol breakout, add, vol breakout, add, vol breakout, add, vol breakout, add. And now you start seeing that I have the trail position, and I'm in really good in the money on this one here, right? That's a good trail move. So now I would be looking for a counter trend, or like a reason to sell, a reason for the market to pull me out. Okay, so we have that vol breakout, NASDAQ short, which I am not in. So I don't have a trail stop. So I'm looking for a vol breakout instead of a failed vol breakout. Yeah, I am an awfully discretionary trader, Lush. That's exactly what I'm doing. I am a systematic trader, absolutely, but I also so what I'm using is a systematic system to signal that, okay? So if I get a vol breakout to the downside, which is a system, that will reverse my position long, which I'm currently long, and that will signal me short. Now, I've been doing this for over 20 years, so I'm very comfortable with that sort of approach, especially when I'm already in a pretty decent area. Now, if I got in on this vol breakout over here, which is a system I trade, I would probably be my stop at that point in time, because that was my entry, would be a close below that. But since I'm doing discretionary trading along with systematic trading, I can do what I want and it's my money. But this is also a double top up here. Okay. So depending on where you got in, say you got in up here and you got your double top, well, then you short that and you're in the money. However, because I'm trading weekly, once I moved it from my daily, because this started forming, I'm like, okay, now it's a weekly. And now we have what's called a vol breakout on the weekly position here. So a move above this one, 10,170 would have been the add. And then your stop would be a close on the weekly basis, because I can do it in my mind. It's easy. Low. So, you know, a weekly close. So Sunday evening at whatever time, it's 5 p.m. Where I live, I think it's 4 p.m. When this weekly candle closes, if it closed below 9079.87, then that would be a signal to stop out if you're looking to trade it on the weekly. Remember, I wait for all bar closes to trade off of. I don't do it mid bar. Here we go. Okay, 10-minute. We're getting our failed vol breakout. Let's look what 5 looks like. Okay, so the thing about this, though, is if it does fail, so okay, now we can adjust because that one didn't fill. So now the setup would be a buy stop a tick above here. So buy stop would be a tick above here, and then we would look for the move, mean reversion back to the midline. Which the mean reversion back. So we would need a buy stop a tick above. Let's see. So that would be 9057.25 would be the potential long on a 5-minute NASDAQ failed vol breakout. I'm not taking it just yet. I'm waiting for a 30 setup, which is going to take a little bit. We've got another 20 minutes for that one to set up. And then we can also watch the 10-minute. So if we played off the 10-minute, that would be 9065.5 buy stop above there with a move up to 9135.50. I am combining systematic and discretionary. Absolutely. That's fine. You can be confused. I don't mind. Keep asking questions. Or continue to not believe me. I don't mind. I'm here to help. Happy to answer the questions. But I've been doing this for a long time, and there's a lot of people out there that just come in and try to tell you it's super easy to trade, and you just need to come up with this, and you just need to be very focused and do all these great simple things, whatever. And I think that's BS. It is a real job, and you have to put in the real work. You have to do a lot of work. I spend 4 hours of my day every day manually back testing different systems, different price action, all the things. My day trading is all based off of price action with a little bit of systems involved. I have a number of setups. It doesn't need to be clear to you. It's very clear to me. There's a few people in here who've been with me for a while that you can ask them if you got questions on this stuff. Maybe they can clarify it a little bit better. Okay. 5-minute. Having a look. Okay, so if the 5-minute trade is taken, that has got filled if people took that trade, or likely filled, maybe not. I don't know if anybody took that trade. But so now you would be looking for a move there. What I'm looking for here is I don't think we're done bottoming. So I'm waiting on the 60 or the 30 to do my work. I may miss this trade, and that's fine. I don't mind missing it. You know, emotions are very, very high right now, and you're going to start getting all sorts of wishy-washy things. So on days like today and yesterday, I'm not anxious to come running in to catch a bottom. I'm looking to preserve capital and wait for markets to trade a little bit more in line with whatever everything is going on. But as you can see, we're breaking out on we broke out of that range on the 60. So far, the 240 range is holding. And what I'd like to see, let's go to the 720. Okay, so we do have that vol breakout on a 720. So that's a 12-hour candle. That would be, this would be my signal to start getting into the long side on my swing, adding to my swing positions. Okay, the 5 minutes seem to work. Yeah, sure, Lush. I mean, trading's not easy, and it's like everybody has their own sort of trading style. So having preconceived notions of what the market, how you believe the market trades, that's the thing, right? Everybody believes something differently about the market, and that's what we have to do. We have to trade our beliefs about the market. If you believe that systematic trading is the only way to trade and you try to do discretionary, you're going to have a tough time doing discretionary. If you only believe that discretionary works, then you're going to have a tough time, if doing any sort of system. If you believe value investing is the only way to make money over time, then you're not going to be able to day trade. You're not going to be doing all those sort of things. So that's ultimately what it's all about. What are your beliefs? What do you believe about a market? Do you believe you have to have a set stop? Then if you don't have a set stop, or you see somebody without a set stop, the way they and how they trade, then it seems confusing. If you see so if you see a something like this pattern right here, so we have the double bottom with the buy stop above it here. I can do this right away. So ultimately, and this is how I normally trade. We had a failed vol breakout. That's a high expectancy trade. This one would be right around here, would be 1R. So also, if you were to look at it without the help of training wheels, you can see where we are, where we went to, where everybody placed their stops, so they got ran, and now the most amount of people got stopped out. This is, I'm guessing that this took out a lot of people, a lot of longs in NASDAQ. A lot of people across the board got stopped out in this area, and now they're just kind of suffering, licking their wounds. They disappeared. But this is a double bottom pattern with a buy stop here. Take 1.1R profit. That's a high win rate system. And then, of course, you could use it as the failed vol breakout, which is also a very high win rate system. You use compressed periods of volatility to expanded periods of volatility and mean reversion. Okay, so cats, I don't understand. This is my second view, and it seems quite clear to me. Thank you, cats. But then again, I understand English. How can you backtest discretionary strategy? Okay, so backtesting a discretionary strategy. What actually I've done to backtest these sort of things is I look for a double bottom or double tops, and I'm looking at certain market regimes. So in a certain market regime, I know that longs have a tendency to sell-offs tend to get bought more. Okay, so if we're in a bull quiet regime, every dip gets bought. If we're in a bull volatile machine, it's different, and we're in our regime, and we're in a bull volatile regime right now. So my work, I'm looking for the reversal patterns. And so when you see these long wicks during a trading day, right? you can then go back and say, okay, here's a long wick. So I'm going long there. My stop would be, and I go long like a quarter position or a fifth of a position. And then I look for more reasons to continue to add. So long off that complex bottom, boom, you're in. First look back, add to the position, comes back, another add to the position. So you're second and third, and you can catch these moves like that. It's easy for me to say that in prehistoric time. Oh, somebody's at our door. Be right back. All right, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to cut this close. I got some maintenance people here. I'll keep the thing running, but I'm gonna cut the video. I'll just keep my screen up, and you guys feel free to chat in there, and I'll try to answer these. I'll try to answer these questions as they come, but I got to run.